Right on. We're back. Today is, again, Wednesday, April 23rd. This show is flying by. And you know what? I'm comfortable behind the mic now. I just get so nervous about the guests and everything. But I just do my proper research. This is one of my first bosses I've ever had in the insurance world, Ernie B. Plourd. And he goes by Ernie, not Ernest. What a mentor he's been. He is with SEEC Financial. Cue him in. Ernie, how are you?
Good. How are you today,
Good.
Michael?
Okay, so let me give my listeners some background. This is the second part of the show. I had the financial planner on. Brilliant guy, Ernie, out of Greenwich. Brilliant. And minimum to get him is like $1 million, but he was nice enough to give us a few minutes. So now here's the second part of my show. Kay Drysdale, Paula, Trish Torello, all my friends here are always bragging about some granddaughter or some niece or something. I mean, just they are. They come in, and Kay and I were speaking, and we were talking about community college is an excellent way to entry into four-year university. No one really knows the formula, how to get the money to get into college, or no one knows the proper paperwork, or you've really personalized through SEEC Financial, which is in Cheshire. I worked for Ernie with American National 24 years ago, and he taught me a valuable lesson. He's like, I need to sell a policy or two a day to live. So now, not only is he an insurance genius, he's also set up for SAT prep courses, ACT prep courses, college roadmaps. I am not going to steal your thunder, and I know my listeners are listening. Listeners, grab a pen, because if you have children or grandchildren that are entering college, this is the way to go. Ernie, take it away.
Sure. Today, Michael, what we have is it's just about a crisis in higher learning because of some of the sticker price for some of these schools. Mm-hmm. So parents and grandparents can use all of the help that they can get. Now, it's taking the average student 6 years to get a 4-year degree, and there's several reasons for that. But just with the average price of a public school in the state of Connecticut being around $25,000, if you're taking 6 years to get that 4-year degree, that's an extra $50,000. Now, if you multiply that times the number of students you have, you can see that the number starts to get out of control.
Oh, God, astronomical.
Yeah. Okay, so what we do is, one of the reasons that it's taken them 6 years to get that 4-year degree is they really don't know what they want to do for the rest of their lives when they do get to school, and this is very common. So they might try a couple of different majors, and then they settle down on a major and they finally get to work, but now they have an additional 2 years of tuition that they have to pay. Mm-hmm. So the way that we resolve that situation in the high school years is we actually administer a psychological profile for each one of these students to determine what their true interests are. Okay, and from that interest, what we do is we develop a school list that these students will be accepted to that will cater to what their interests are. Okay, so it's all about managing expectations as well. We don't want them getting excited about a certain school only to find out that they're not compatible with that school.
And not to waste money.
Yeah, and that's a big factor today. You know, it used to be a nice thing when you told your kids, oh, it's really good if you get an A, but today that actually equates to several $1,000s. Okay. You know, it does make a big difference. I mean, these schools are giving out, there's two different types of aid that parents need to be concerned with. One is what's called need-based aid, and the other is what's called merit-based aid. So everybody can qualify for some type of aid regardless of how much money you make or don't make. So they shouldn't be dissuaded because they say, well, you know, I make too much money, I'm not going to be able to qualify for aid. That simply is not the case.
All right, let's talk, because I obviously have twins.
Right.
What are the steps? First of all, I should be buying a whole life policy so that I can put money at a tax-deferred basis and I can take it out tax-free.
Yes, the reason that the whole life policy is so popular is that it's actually the only vehicle that the IRS will let us put money into that when you complete your FAFSA. Now, the FAFSA is the application that you have to complete in order to apply for federal student aid.
Financial aid, right.
Okay, so, and what they say is, and this is the rule, you do not include money that is in any type of a life insurance product. So we have specially designed products whereby you can fund these. It will not go on your FAFSA, and therefore it will not be held against you.
Now, hopefully, you're going to buy that whole life from me. But if you don't, Ernie's a qualified person. Northwestern Mutual, New York Life, MetLife, John Hancock Prudential. Who's the particular policy you like for the college funding?
Okay, for college funding, there are a specially designed plan, and that would be Forrester's Life Insurance and Lafayette Life Insurance. These are both companies that are over 100 years old and have declared a dividend every year. Now, the reason that we use these particular types of policies is that even when you take money out to pay for college, the policy acts as if the money is still in the policy. So you will continue to receive interest and dividends on the funds that you have removed. And what this does is it will let you accumulate dollars for either the repayment of loans when the kids are done with school,
right,
or for actually paying for school while they're attending.
And now who should the policy holder be, you or your children?
It should be you, and it should be you for several reasons.
So leave a death benefit first and foremost.
The death benefit is very important at this point in time because, God forbid, something were to happen prematurely to the parent who's paying for college. If all of a sudden that breadwinner is gone, a lot of times that college career gets derailed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas if there is a death benefit on him or her, whoever it does happen to be, and something does happen, the money will be there for the student to continue to go to school. Now, there is a second reason, Michael, that a lot of people are not aware of. What a lot of these lending institutions are doing now, people should be aware that most parents or grandparents will have to co-sign for the student in order to get a student loan.
Because it's just so expensive and the student doesn't have any equity or any savings.
Right. They don't have any credit history really to speak of, so they have to have somebody with a credit history co-sign for that loan. But if there was a tragedy to occur and something did happen to that co-signer, what a lot of the lenders are doing is they're calling in the loan at that time. And there's simply no way for the student to come up with that money. So, again, the college career gets derailed. If there were a life insurance product in place, that simply wouldn't happen. So there's a lot of reasons that we do use life insurance in college planning. Okay,
so now I have quite a following. I don't know how, but for some reason people put this show on. You're going to get the life insurance hater, which a very affluent client of mine, real estate mogul, says, I don't need it. I've got properties. What's another alternative way other than just the life insurance way?
Well, the reason that we're kind of handcuffed when it comes to life insurance is because that's what the federal government tells us is the only thing besides actual pension plans, like IRAs, 401ks, things of that nature, that you do not have to put on your FAFSA. Okay,
and again, that's free application for federal student aid. Right. Not everyone knows that term.
Sure, yeah, you have to excuse me for using terminology
you're
like
a seasoned veteran.
But, again, this is the application that I deal with every day, and it says right on the application, do not include retirement funds or cash value life insurance. So certainly when we see that, we want to take advantage of that opportunity to take that asset off the table so that it's what's called the expected family contribution. That would be what the federal government says.
EFC,
you can afford, EFC, that's right. The federal government says you can afford to pay for your students' college education. So a lot of times these parents come up with these really inflated EFCs because they didn't reposition their assets properly prior to completing their loan applications.
And I remember one time I heard you at an Alpha Business at a chamber meeting. You were providing recommendations to reduce the EFC.
Correct.
How do you do that, brilliant wonder?
Well, there's a few ways that we do it. It's actually not as complicated as you might think.
As long as it's legal.
And
no
that is
fraud
the thing
on this show.
These are the rules that the federal government gives us, and we use their rules
and their
in order to reduce the expected family contribution.
Okay.
And as I say, many times it's through the repositioning of assets. So you have assets that normally would have to go on that FAFSA, on that loan application, okay, which now we can take and put into a whole life product or something similar to that. And it now does not go on that FAFSA, so it reduces that expected family contribution substantially. So it doesn't have to stay in that life insurance policy, however, Michael, because at the end of the term when the kids are done with school, let's say that whatever they wanted to use the asset for, they could then remove it from the life insurance policy and use it for whatever they want to. But during the meantime, it's an invisible asset as far as the colleges are concerned.
Right. Okay, now you're going to get We only have 2 more minutes. Now you're going to get an uninsured individual, someone who smoked and unfortunately a family history, the deoxyribonucleic acid, the DNA shot, and they've got diabetes. What do we do then for that grandparent that wants to do something? They can gift money. What can they do to help?
It happens all the time, and actually what we do is find an alternative family member to put the insurance on. So normally where we may have been using the husband, in this case we might be using the wife.
Okay.
Or it might even be one of the grandparents that happens to be healthier. Right, exactly. As long as they do have a good family relationship.
Oh,
and
sure.
Just because they're the insured, just because they're the insured, Mike, doesn't mean that they're the owner. So
the owner,
of the
applicant,
policy,
and beneficiary doesn't have to be the insured. Obviously, we know that with an ILET.
Right. So, I mean, he may be the insured, but he has no rights to the cash value. So you will be using him as kind of a conduit just to take advantage of the tax laws to make sure the parents reduce that EFC as much as possible.
And also, I am letting you have a little airtime here. You've got a seminar that you go over all this, and that would be tomorrow evening at the Wolcott Library.
That's true. We do free workshops for parents that want to attend.
6:30 to 8.
6:30 to 8 is the time.
And then when are you in the Cheshire Senior Center?
Okay.
I got it right here. And then we are in the Cheshire at the Senior Center again at 6:30, then back to Wolcott on the 22nd of May. So for you listeners out there, if you want to just get your foot in the door, get your toe wet in the water, whatever term you like to use, explore the woods. I just made that one up. Sounds pretty good. But anyway, you want to get a little education on this. SEEC Financial, SEEC. Sandy, Ernie, Eric, and Carrie are going to be, really you're going to get Ernie B. Ernie B will be at the Wolcott Library tomorrow evening from 6:30 to 8. If you missed any details, just call the office, 757-6099. Ernie and I have been friends for 25 years. I'll have the information. I really believe in him. I know that he does the right thing. My friends Shannon and Caitlin Duffy use him on a regular basis, and I've heard you've placed almost 1,000 students in colleges, so you've got a proven track record.
Yes, families are very happy once they do pay us a visit.
And I'm impressed with what you do. All right, so if you've got grandchildren or children that need to get to college, go visit with Ernie and let him advise you. We're going to plug our sponsors again. We're going to take a commercial break, and thanks for being part of the show.